Welcome in Craft and Design 3.0 for my dear audience. In this video, I will describe some different and much beautiful ideas of metal fabrication project and useful welding project ideas or metal working ideas for sale, different decoring designs. So, dear audience, when we talk about metal fabrications, then different question arise in our mind like as what is a metal fabrication or explain of metal fabrication. So metal fabrication is a creation of metal structures by cutting, bending and assembling process. So it is a value added process involving the creation of machines, parts and structure from various raw materials. So typically a fabrication shop builds on a job usually based on engineering drawing, and if awarded the contract builds the products. Large fab shops imply a multitude of value added process including welding, cutting, forming and also machining. So as with other manufacturing process, both human labor and automation are commonly used. So a fabricated product may be called a fabrication, and shops specializing in this type of work and called fab shops. So the end products of other common types of metalworking such as machining and metal stamping, forging and casting may be similar in shape and function, but those processes are not classified as fabrication. So, if when we talk about a process, then cutting is done by sawing, shearing, or chiseling, all with manual and powered variants. So, torching with handled torches such as oxy-fuel torches or plasma torches, and via numerical control, cutter using a laser, so mill bits, torch, water jet also. So when we talk about a bending is done by hammering, manual or powered, or via press brakes, tubes, benders, and similar tools. So modern metal fabrication kits use press brakes to coin or air bend metal sheet into form. So CNC controlled gogs use hard stops to position cut parts to place bend line in specific position. So one is assembling, joining of pieces is done by welding, binding with adhesive, and writing threaded fastener or further bending in the form of crimped seams. So structure steel and sheet metal are the used material for fabrications. Welding wire, flux and or fasteners are used to join the cut pieces. So fabrication comprises or overlap with various metalworking specialties. So fabrication shops and machine shops have overlapping capability, but fabrication shops generally concentrate on metal preparation and assembly as described above. So machine shops cut metal but focus primarily on the machining of parts on machine tools. So some firms do both fab work and also machining. So blacksmithing has always involved fabrication, although that term has not always been used. So also welder produced product often referred to as weldment and are examples of fabrication. So boiler maker originally specialized in fabricating boilers, but the term is now used more broadly. So millwrights are originally specialized in setting up grains mills and sawmills, but now perform a wide range of fabrications. So iron workers, also known as steel creators and erectors, also engage in fabrication. They often work with prefabricated segments produced in a fab shop that are delivered to the site. So when we talk about a raw material, then standard metal fabrication materials are plate metal, formed and expanded metal, so tube stock and welding wire and welding rod also casting. So cutting and burning. A variety of tools are used to cut raw materials. The most common cutting method is shearing. Special band saws for cutting metal have hardened blades and feed mechanism for even cutting. So abrasive cut-off saws, also known as chopped saws, are similar to meter saws, but have a steel cutting abrasive discs. Cutting torches can cut large sections of steel with little effort. So burn table CNC cutting torch is usually powered by natural gas, plasma and laser cutting tables and water jet cutter are also common. So plate steel is loaded on the table and the parts are cut out as programmed. So the sport table consists of a grid of bars that can be replaced when worn. So higher end burn table may include CNC punch capability using a carousel of punches and tapes. So in fabrication of structural steel by plasma and laser cutting, robot move the cutting head in three dimension around the cut material. So dear audience, one of is forming. Forming converts flat sheet metal into 3D parts by applying force without adding or removing material. So the force must be great enough to change the metal initial shape. So forming can be controlled with tools such as punches and dies, and machinery can regulate force, magnitude, and direction. So machine-based forming can combine forming and welding a produce length of fabricated sheeting and fabricating or linear creating for water range. So most metallic materials being at least somewhat ductile and capable of considerable permanent deformation without cracking or breaking. So lend themselves particularly well to these techniques. So proper design and use of tools with the machinery creates a repeatable form that can be used and create products for many industries, including jewelry, aerospace, automotive, construction, civil, and architecture also. So also machining. Machining is a specialized trade of for removing material from a block of metal to make it a desired shape. So fab shops generally have some machining capability using metal lathes, mills, drills, and other portable machines tools. So most solid components such as gears, bolts, screw, and nut are machined. So when we talk about welding, so welding is the main focus of steel fabrication formed and machines parts are assembled and tack welded into in place, then rechecked for accuracy. So if multiple weldment have been ordered, a fixture may be used to locate parts of for welding. So a welder then finishes the work according to the engineering drawing for detail welding or by their own experience and judgment. If some detail in my video, especially prescribe so, dear audience, special measures may be needed to prevent or correct warping of weldment due to heat. So, these may include redesigning the piece to require less welding, employing a staggered weld, so using a stored fixture or covering the weldment in sand as it cools and post weld straightening and straightening of wrapped steel weldment is done with an oxyacetylene torch. In this highly specialized work, Heat is selectively applied to the steel is in a slow, so linear sweep, causing the steel to contract in the direction of the sweep as it cools. So highly skilled welder can remove significant warpage this way. So steel weldment are occasionally annealed in a low temperature oven to relieve residual stress. Such weldment, particularly these for engine blocks, may be lined board after heat treatment. So after the weldment has cooled, seams are usually ground clean, and assembly can be sand bleached, primed, and paint. Any additional manufacturing is then performed, and the finished product is inspected and shipped. So, dear audience and my dear guys, I say that if we talk about specialists, then many fabrication shops offer specialty process, including casting, powder coating, and powder metallurgy, and welding and machinery. So, dear audience, when we talk about metal fabrication process, then different other question arise in our mind, like is what is metal fabrication process, or what is the function of a fabrication project, or what is objective of metal fabrication, or what are the types of metal fabrication. So many questions. So, dear audience, metal fabrication originally, my dear guys, question me that metal fabrication process about you can talk, you can briefly explain. So, dear audience, metal fabrication is a creation of metal structures by cutting, bending, and assembling process. So, it is a value-added process involving the creation of machines and parts and structure from various raw material and different other material, I can say. So what is the function of a fabrication project? So fabrication uses semi-finished or raw materials to make something from start to finish as opposed to simply assembling it. So this work is typically completed by the fabrication shop or fab shop that will bid on the contract for the job based on engineering drawings and specification. So when we talk about the objectives of metal fabrication, the purpose of metal fabrication is building metal structure. Fabrication shops and machine shops have overlapping capability, but fabrication shops generally concentrate on metal preparation and assembly as described above. So, blacksmithing has always involved fabrication, although it was not always called by that name. So, some three type of metal fabrication. There are three type of metal fabrication, each referring to a different scale and function of the fabrication process. First of all, industrial metal fabrication. Industrial metal fabrication is used to create parts of tool and equipment. So structural metal fabrication also prescribed, and commercial metal fabrication are also briefly explained in my video. So if we introduct a main way of metal fabrication, then metal fabrication is a process of turning sheet metal and other flat metal into predetermined forms. The process begins with sheet metal no thicker than a quarter inch. So the metal is malleable enough to take on various shapes at this thickness and frankness and fabrical engagement. So, what does fabrication means? One my guys question me, and one my audience question me. What is a fabrication? Fabrication is the process of constructing products by combining typically standardized parts using one or more individual process. For example, Steel fabrication is the production of metal structures using a range of process such as cutting, bending, and also assembling, and different other. So some step, if we talk about a step of fabrication, then design and drawing. The fabricating process starts by finalizing the design of the desired product. So blank cutting and punching, bending and assembly, finishing, quality control, packing and shipping also. So if we purpose of fabrication, if we saw, then fabrication is a process of transforming raw material into finished or semi-finished products, cutting, shaped, and molding metal are just some of the fabrication process used in the industry. So it can be carried out either on site or in an other specialized workshop equipped with advanced machines and tools. So, dear audience, I think that my video and my idea inspire you much. If inspired, then subscribe my channel and like my video and share my video with your affectionate love. So, thank you very much, guys. Once again, thank you very much for watching my video.